And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking the deal on Sergio Perez that you may not have known about. It's not as clear as water. Yes, stay with me, if you will. Now, this all began, I think, there's an article amongst many places, but the express.co.uk and many other established media, and Max Verstappen and the dad Jos have been surprised by what was a Red Bull U-turn on Sergio Perez. Now, why were they surprised on this U-turn? Well, Max and Jos Verstappen were reportedly told that Red Bull would be sacking Sergio Perez before the team confirmed the Mexican was staying. Yes, Max Verstappen and his father Jos were reportedly informed that Red Bull is going to be, essentially, they're replacing Sergio Perez. I don't think they were told who with, though, but mid-season before the team opted to keep their current lineup. Christian Horner confirmed on Monday, as we all know now, that the Mexican is going to remain Verstappen's teammate. Now, talks were held to discuss his future after several what can be described as underwhelming races. The 34-year-old only scored 28 points in the last 8 races, at least 51 less than any other driver from the top 4 teams. That's Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes. Now, Checo started second at the Belgian Grand Prix, as you well know, last weekend, but he finished 8th, which later was upgraded to 7th, to be fair, because of George Russell's whoopsie. Now, he ended up 3 places behind Verstappen, who, to be fair, Verstappen started 11th. Now, Horner, last month, though, he labelled Perez's lack of point scoring unsustainable, while team advisor Helmut, I keep my opinions to myself, Marco, said he completely collapsed. He described in Spa what looked so positive in qualifying, unfortunately, did not materialise for the race. Now, Daniel Ricciardo had initially been tipped to play him, or then maybe even Liam Lawson, but one of the two. But Liam Lawson was potentially then going to take Daniel Ricciardo's place. But Horner said on Monday that Checo remains a Red Bull racing driver, in spite of the fact that both both Jos and Max Verstappen were told otherwise. But F1 Insider, the media conglomerate, reportedly asked the reigning champions to, reconsider. Yes. Now, that media conglomerate that I'm talking about is very much Liberty Media, the people that owned F1. Pray tell. So reports have suggested that Red Bull had initially set a deadline, as we know, for the Belgian Grand Prix for Sergio to prove his worth. He didn't. That led to speculations that he was going to be get rid of. And the announcement of the retaining Perez came, as we all know, as a surprise, what I've already told you about. But, and here we go, the media conglomerate, Liberty Media, reportedly asked the reigning champions to reconsider their decision to sack Perez, which seemed, let's be fair to all of us, it seemed very much inevitable. Now, the reason finds its origins in Perez's commercial value, which will particularly shine, as you know, during the Mexican Grand Prix weekend, and Mexico is not short of buying Red Bull cans. The report states what leaked out behind the scenes. Formula One rights holder Liberty Media asked Red Bull to reconsider the Perez dismissal. They feared a huge drop in revenue at the Mexican Grand Prix on October the 27th without their national hero in Sergio Perez. And Perez is staying. What does that mean? Now, if, and this is a big if, put your tinfoil hats on at the ready, because now we're talking absolute rumours, conjecture and opinion. But if this is the case, what on earth are Liberty Media playing at? It's all fair and good having opinions on, to drive, but saying money, money, money. So, yes, F1 is a business, and arguably more so now, it's a business first rather than a sport. It should really be the other way. But if it's doing that, it's worried about money. So it's, I don't want to say peer pressuring, but it's in that grey area, let's say, with Red Bull. If that's the reason Sergio Perez is staying, that's absolutely terrible, because they are worried all about the dollars. And that goes to show, once again, I know F1 is a business, but are they putting the money, etc., above Formula One itself? And that's what you kind of have to wonder. They're obviously, more worried about that than the right person in there. And with Red Bull's decision to get rid, to keep Perez may well have cost them any Constructors' Championship. So should Liberty Media really get involved to that extent with people's driver selection. Absolutely, they shouldn't. And if that's the case, Red Bull should have gone, no, we will choose who we want. Because when that happens, then you start to wonder, and I don't think this has happened, but it does leave the door open for backdoor deals. What else are they telling the teams? What else is going on backstage in Formula One? I imagine not much, but then it does open the door, doesn't it? Where there should be a very strict line between that, and there clearly is not. And it's made me quite cross if that's the reason they've kept Sergio Perez. I initially thought, well, okay, they're giving him another go. Not so I agree. There's a human being there that we know how good Perez was. Fair enough. But now, if this is the reason, absolutely terrible. And Red Bull and Liberty Media, I think, should hang their heads in shame if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of almost a bit speechless about it all, really. It's, a drop in revenue. They feared a drop in revenue. But then that's Liberty Media, isn't it? I mean, these are the people that will quite happily get rid of a classic circuit and just stick it on an absolutely soulless street track because so-and-so are paying more money, which, yes, you get money. Yes, again, F1 is a business. But then to what extent? F1 is only as good as the people watching it. Now, I know for a fact they were really worried, for example, when in 22 and 23 there was a decline in audience. In 2023 there was very much a decline on social media, with people almost bad-mouthing how boring it is. And thank goodness we have an exciting season. But thinking always about the money and not the long road is not the way to go, I think, for Liberty Media whatsoever. You'll end up with a soulless sport where people will, initially go along with it. But there comes a point where people will just turn it off. And it has happened to sports. And just because Formula One is so big and massive doesn't mean it can't happen. A good example for any wrestling fans watching is WCW. They almost got too big for their boots at one point, and a company that was doing so well at one point, built up almost, from a failure to multi-million-dollar profits in the late 1990s, was gone by 2001 because they did not learn the lessons. They did not learn the lessons to respect their audience. So it can happen to big companies just because F1 is massive. There's a lot of competition. There is a lot of competition out there. Not necessarily, for the top car racing, but you got your Netflix, you got other sports, you got shows, you've got things like, you've got YouTube, and with F1's audience up until recently reportedly just getting older and older, and no new fans coming in. Thank goodness for Drive to Survive. If that cash cow Drive to Survive decides to go away, what are they going to do then? You can't always think about the money. Anyway, I've ranted far too much. But yeah, that's the special secret on Sergio Perez deal I wanted to chat about. We'll speak to you soon. Like and subscribe if you want. If you hit that notification button, if you don't want to miss a video. We've also got our BTCC Croft review and our WRC Finland preview out there as well. We'll speak to you soon. Until then, have a great time. Thank you very much.